Welcome to the website for Trinity Classical School. My name's Nate Walker. I'm a board member for Trinity, and I want to share with you a little bit about how I've come to appreciate the power of a classical Christian education. As a graduate student, I was studying mathematics, and I functioned basically as a lecturer in the university where I was studying, and I taught lower level math courses to undergraduates. And one of the things I experienced as I was teaching these young college students is they would come into my class, and how they understood the learning of math was that basically I'd give them 20 problems on their homework. They'd go memorize the 20 problems, then I'd give them a test, and they'd show me that they memorized how to do that problem. And how they understood education was basically there was a game. And if they learned how to play the game right, then they'd be rewarded for it. So I had all these math professors who saw these young college students coming in, and they said, these kids, they don't know how to think. None of them think for themselves. We need to get these kids learning to think for themselves at a younger age. And so these math professors, they start developing curriculum for second graders where they expect second graders to explain how they got the answers as they're doing their math work. And at certain times, this has caused, in the history of education, that second graders never actually learn their basic math facts, their times tables. And so they're fifth graders who don't know how to do division. And so there's this pendulum swing back and forth where then all of a sudden the education swings the other way and they start playing the game again where they're just memorizing how to do math. And there's this big problem about how do we teach kids to think. It was right around this time that I came across an amazing essay by a woman named Dorothy Sayers that she wrote in 1947. She was a novelist and British scholar, and the essay was called The Lost Tools of Learning, where she addresses the question of how do we train young people to be thinkers and learners. And what she says in this essay is that the ancient and medieval trivium, which is the first three of the 7 liberal arts, grammar, logic, and rhetoric, as an educational methodology, provides a powerful answer to this pendulum of how do we teach kids to think, and how do we teach them to not just play a game, but how do we train them to be learners, to be thinkers, and to be communicators. And it turns out that this model of learning is the model that Christians have used for millennia to teach their children about the world, to teach them about the Bible and about who God is. And it's an educational model that is not just about Christian education where you have a Bible class and you have scriptures kind of sprinkled throughout the education. It's a view of education that is distinctly Christian, where the methodology, the philosophy behind the education is actually Christian. And it's when I realized that I saw how amazing classical Christian education is. And so over the last 25 years or so, there's been a growing movement around the country of classical Christian schools starting up, and so curriculum has been being refined and developed. It's being thought through, and we're seeing all kinds of success and results in many places around the country. Actually, I was just talking to a man recently. He's helped start a number of classical Christian schools, and he was actually telling me about his own kids who he says are not extraordinarily brilliant kids, but they just demolished their SATs, and they've got full scholarships to different colleges. And not that that's a point of an education, but what he said was the trivium had taught their minds, it had strengthened the muscles of their mind so that they could just retain and learn information in powerful ways. And so what we want to do is invite you to learn more about what classical education is, and of course we'd love to meet with you and to talk to you more about classical education and your children.